Hello and welcome to the Geek Show. So apologies for not having a couple of weeks of shows. Basically, both Rose and I have been on holiday, but today we are back and we're going to be talking about Stranger Things. And in case you're wondering, where's Rose? I'm going to slander her here. Rose, despite the fact that she loves sci-fi and she loves stuff like Stranger Things, flat out refuses to watch past season 1. I think she's watched season 1, but she flat out refuses to watch part of it. So today I'm with one of my closest friends, Beth.
Hello. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, no, and it's good to have you, and we're going to push into things. We originally were meant to also have Bethany and Devin, but unfortunately they couldn't make it, but I do have some of their points they wanted to talk, so I'll probably chuck them in. So, first of all, how did you get into Stranger Things?
I can't remember if it was like recommendation or if it was just it was the thing on Netflix, because it was around about the time that season 3 had just come out. So I watched season 1, season 2 and season 3 all in 5 days or something.
Whoa, that's good going.
it was like watching a season either one sitting or in two halves over a couple of days, but it was just a really good watch, and I think I just kind of watched it because it was there. I didn't actually expect it to be as good as it was, and I think it's also quite good in terms of it being on a streaming service, because you do have distinct chapters, but they all kind of flow together really well, and it is very easy to watch in one sitting, as we've both
done. Yeah, so we'll get onto that in a second with season 4. But for me, I first got into Stranger Things, I think season 2 had just dropped or was literally days away from dropping, and I watched the entirety of season 1 and season 2 basically back to back, because by the time I got to season 1 either it had already been out or season 2 it just dropped. So I watched season 2 pretty much when it came out, with my parents and my family. We're all into Stranger Things because it's quite our thing, and then season 3 it came out, and I remember with such good memories with it. It's such a good comfort one when you're on holiday. So it came out on the 4th of July, and the day it dropped we were going on the Channel Tunnel because we were driving to Switzerland to then go on our holiday in Switzerland, my family, and I was literally trying to log on to the B&B's Wi-Fi that we were staying in before we drove to try to download it, because it dropped at 8 o'clock and our train was 10 and it wasn't downloading, and I was like, no, I can't go because we don't have any Wi-Fi in Switzerland because it's in the Alps, and we literally would latch onto the flats, my dad's friend's flat, we latched onto his neighbour's Wi-Fi, but we knew I couldn't download it, and I was like, no, it wasn't going to work. And then it turns out my dad has a signal and he had unlimited data, so we did get to watch it via him, but we'd watch 2 episodes a night when we were in Switzerland, and because I didn't have any internet access myself, because there was no signal, there was no Wi-Fi, I couldn't get spoiled by it, so it was really nice to pace that out, and because we were on holiday, it was a holiday vibe, it was a really nice time. So season 3 is good memories for that, because I vividly remember watching that when it came out. But season 4, season 4 is a whole different story when it comes to pacing. I watched the first 4 episodes a couple of days apart, kind of, and then my flatmate was like, oh, I didn't know season 4 dropped, do you want to watch it? This was at 1:30 in the afternoon, and I was like, oh yeah, I don't mind rewatch a couple of episodes. No, we watched all 7 episodes of volume 1 in one sitting. We started at 1:30, we finished at 10:30.
Nice.
That night.
I was getting texts during it, how far along you two had progressed, and it was impressive.
So that was the Monday after it dropped. So that was the 4th of July. No, it was the 4th of July. It would have been the something of May. We finished it in one day. Whereas you didn't.
Yeah, so I kind of watched it just kind of here and there. I managed to not get any spoilers until... So...
Okay, that's for warning you here. If you've not seen season 4, I meant to do this will have massive spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, tune out now.
If you are listening to a radio show about Stranger Things season 4, either you've already seen it, or you're one of those people that doesn't want to watch it, but you want to know what happens, and you're hoping we're going to give a...
Rose.
Yeah. Yes, I'm going to listen to other people talk about it, so I don't have to watch it.
Fair enough. Or it's like me when it comes to some films I want to watch but I can't watch them. The synopsis in Wikipedia is quite handy. The plot. I've done that for a few horror films I don't really want to watch, but I've read the plot. I'm like, oh yeah, I know this film, yeah.
It's it'll just decide whether or not you want to watch it.
Yeah.
So I think I'd maybe watch I'm really bad for watching like TV shows. Like I watch like 10 minutes of an episode and like be done for a few days. But I'd say over like 3 days I'd got to like episode 4. And I came around to yours and we watched a couple episodes.
We watched 5 and 6, I think.
And
End
then,
of 4, 5 and 6, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. So there was just episode 7 left. I was going to watch that when I got back to my flat. And it was a bit where Jamie Campbell Bower had been brought about. But neither of us could remember his name. So, but we were like, oh, he was in Mortal Instruments, he was in Twilight, he was in Harry Potter. But none of us could remember his name. So I get back to my flat, and I'm just kind of sitting on my couch. And I'm just scrolling on Instagram, and I see this thing, and it's got Jamie Campbell Bower's face and name. And I'm like, that's his name. Oh my god. And I click on the post, and it's like, oh, we're just going to celebrate Jamie Campbell Bower in some of his most iconic roles because he's finally getting the recognition he deserves. And it was like Harry Potter, Twilight, Mortal Instruments, and then Stranger Things as Vecna. And I'm like, oh. It was completely on me though, because I went on social media and I saw the actor who was portraying a mysterious character and just clicked on that post. So it's like, I'm not usually one that gets mad about spoilers if they're self-inflicted. I am quite mad about it because you just know there's going to be people that So there's this drag show I watched called Dragula, and for a while they would release the episodes onto YouTube. But what a lot of people had done was the video just gets uploaded. Some people had fast forwarded to the end where they'd announced the winner and then put that in the comments.
Oh.
And people might have been doing that with Stranger Things, like people that maliciously spoil are ones I get mad at. But if you're just scrolling on social media,
mm-hmm.
I mean, like, we went on a literal social media drought because, like, it came out, what?
Volume
8 o'clock Friday morning?
Yeah, Volume 2 dropped at 8 o'clock on Friday the 1st of July. And we were watching it, me, you, and our friend Rachel, my flatmate at the time. Flatmates is a strange situation with me, like, I've technically had 2. My first one coming back, but anyway. But my temporary flatmate, Rachel, one of our good friends, who I did the binge watch with, she was coming back over because she'd moved out, and we were going to watch it together on the Sunday because it was the only day we could all do. So we literally went on a social media break for 2 days. And I mean social media, I literally set like my phone time, like screen times to literally 1 minute for every social media apps. I couldn't even actually click it. I literally, the only social media I think I used was like Messenger and like Snapchat, because I've never been so paranoid about spoilers in my life before. And like, as a joke, as soon as like Spellbound started playing, as soon as the credits started rolling, we both opened our respective social medias, and like the first thing on your TikTok For You page was like an in memoriam for Eddie. Oh god, I know, I really dodged a bullet with that one. That day was an emotional one. Yep, still not really over that death, let's put it that way. I mean, you're wearing your Hellfire shirt. I am, which I've been slandered by my family, but I don't care. Yeah, no, I liked Volume 2, but it was an emotional ride. Cried a lot. Yeah. I cried a lot. I just can't believe they put blowing Susie and the Banshees as the credit scene, and we're sitting there like distraught. You over Max, me over Eddie. Rachel just going, that's kind of sad, but yeah. Like, like Rachel went to the bathroom and then came back out, and me, you were just like consoling on the sofa, and she was like, oh my god. I mean, like, what am I friends with? The positive of that is that we then just started listening to Susie and the Banshees. Like, I loved Susie and the Banshees, and then as soon as like Spellbound started playing, I was like, yes. Yeah, no, it was really good. But yeah, no, Volume 2 was I was so paranoid about spoilers. And the thing is, I noticed with things, if it gets dropped in America, that's when people spoil it. Because, for example, No Way Home, Spider-Man No Way Home, back in December, which, can you believe it's like 7 months since that came out? What? Yeah. What? 7 months since it came out. One of my favourite films of all time. I love No Way Home. I've already did a show about that, so if you want to listen to that, listen to the Marvel one. There's a nice self-promo. There's a whole section about that, about me just ranting about No Way Home. In a good way, not in a bad way ranting. But I am for that. I didn't get to see it till the Friday because my friends weren't free, but it came out on the Wednesday here. And I still would go on like social media and stuff, but they'd have like spoiler warning barriers, so you'd swipe to see stuff because it was Britain that'd come out in. And I went to see it on the Friday evening, aka when it kind of first dropped, as in like California time, because it airs behind us. I got home, nothing but spoilers, no warnings, because it dropped in America. It's like, really, you can't wait?
And it's like when you're watching TV shows as well, where they air like a week or two before, and they will not give any spoiler warnings. Like, I remember watching Screen Junkies. I don't know where we stand on Screen Junkies now, but I stopped watching them a few years ago.
I don't think I really properly watched them that much.
They were alright for like white noise. They were the ones that had honest trailers, and you'd have them kind of on in the background. And they had this discussion about spoiler etiquette. And it came down to 2 days for a TV show, 2 weeks after a movie comes out. After that, it's open season, but none of that accounts for international releases. Like, I was watching American Horror Story Apocalypse, because that was the first season that I watched live, being in air quotes, because by the time the UK got episode 1, the US was on episode 3. So they were 2 weeks ahead.
Oh.
So you would know what was happening 2 weeks ahead, and no tag spoilers, and also social media algorithms also make it very hard to avoid spoilers, because it used to be, you would just not go on your Instagram explore page. You could still go on like your homepage where you had people that you followed. You could control what you saw on that. But then Instagram is like, let's put things from the explore page on your homepage, and you just can't escape spoilers. So that's why you have the swipe, that's why you tag your spoilers. But if people don't do that, and even if it's out with that 2-day, 1-day, 4-day rule, then what exactly are you meant to do? I mean, this isn't like, we need to find a solution. I think it's just a thing that's bad, and we kind of have to deal with it.
Yeah, for me, on the flip side, somehow I have avoided spoilers of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I don't know how you did it. Buffy the Vampire Slayer has been out for over 20 years.
Yeah, it celebrates 25th anniversary like a few months ago, and I've only just started, I watched it in like March time I started, and I was nearly finished season 6, and the only spoiler I know is a certain death, because it's such like a big discussed death. And I knew about that because you talked about it like years ago, before I even was planning on watching it. That's the only spoiler I know.
Yeah, and that's because it was like part of a wider, to be as big as possible, bury your gaze.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even a Buffy specific spoiler, if that makes sense. It was a, let's all gasp as the lesbian character gets killed off. Oh, what a shock.
Yeah, exactly. So I know about this death. I haven't quite got to this death yet. I know it's the next couple of episodes, because I know it's season 6. But yeah, apart from that, literally no spoilers. Like, I didn't even know like some people are in it. I didn't know some of half the characters. I literally just have avoided spoilers, and so it's like I've watched it when it's come out live, which I think is quite good. I think I might do it quite well.
Yeah, it's like your reactions, and it's like the comments you make. It's like, it's so entertaining, because like I watched it when I was like 12, 13 for the first time, and I knew a lot of the big spoilers. So it's really refreshing to see how you would view Buffy without knowing no spoilers. So I'm watching it like, I know this character does this. I know this character does that. I know this character dies, so maybe I shouldn't get too attached. Oh no, this is my favourite character of all time. I'm still very attached to this character, even though I know she's going to die.
Yeah, I didn't have that warning for some characters, but we'll get into that when we do the Buffy episode. But for me now, it's quite interesting to watch Stranger Things quite well. My friend Katie is now watching the first time, and she's on season 3, and I'm getting what you got with me with Buffy. She says stuff, she only knows Eddie's death spoiler in season 4, because it's just a big talked about thing now, but that's one spoiler she knows, and she's either is finished season 3 now or has finished it, but she's not texted me anything about getting to Eddie yet, so I feel like she's not started season 4 yet, and she would definitely message me.
You would also message like, oh my god, they killed Hopper?
But I'm guessing she knows Hopper's in season 4 though.
Or then it'd be like, I thought Hopper was in season 4, why did he explode?
Yeah.
As well, like, we'll get on to like the deaths and the fake deaths.
Yeah, we'll get onto
Hopper
that a lot. But Katie's just on season 3 now, and she absolutely loves, like, I get updates and stuff. So I think her favourites right now are like, she loves Will. Like, Will, she's like, I would die for that boy.
He's a wee sweetheart, and
I
honestly,
love Will.
if he becomes the villain, He deserves to.
I support his villain arc 100%. That boy deserves it. So that leads us on to, I think I should probably start a good starting point. Thoughts for season 4?
I think it's fallen into the trap that a lot of shows fall into of their penultimate season, when everyone was talking about how season 4 was their favourite season. It was when volume 1 came out, so they've started all of these amazing things, but they didn't yet have their conclusion, so there was still that speculation of what's going to happen next. And when volume 2 came out, we were all kind of like, is that it?
Yeah. I mean, this is the first time that Stranger Things has been split into different releases for a season, because at this point they've all just been each season, boom, that's all 8 or 9 episodes, depending on when there is, and that is it. So you have both the start and the end in one go, effectively, whereas we waited a whole month for volume 2, so these series were built up. It was almost like watching a weekly release show, which I can just quite enjoy more, like Doctor Who. I like also watching like Marvel TV shows and stuff like that, because they come out weekly, so you get to like analyse and like create theories. I mean, I'm not one of those people that gets really annoyed if a theory doesn't happen type thing, but it's quite nice, like it's fun to have theories and stuff. So, but then the flip side, like you said, disappointing. A lot of our theories for volume 2 didn't happen.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like a trap that the penultimate season kind of falls into, because again, with like, I'm going to use the Buffy the Vampire Slayer example, like, and Stranger Things, where it's like season 1, it could have ended at season 1. It had a satisfying conclusion. Same with season 2. Could have ended then. Everything was tied up. Season 3, satisfying conclusion. Everything was tied up. But because they knew they had that season 5, they didn't need to tie everything up. So areas you would have gotten closure on, or things you would have expected to happen, didn't happen because they're left to happen in season 5. Because kind of like Buffy, every finale felt like the end of the show, apart from season 6, which feels...
I haven't got to that season.
Yeah, I'm just going to say different.
Okay.
So that's kind of what happened here, where it finished and we were like, is that it? Like, they started things that they couldn't finish, like the fact that Hawkins got ripped apart.
And then earthquake quotation marks.
And they never even properly addressed it. Whereas it wouldn't have happened in other seasons.
Yeah.
Or it would have happened like halfway through the finale, resolved by the end.
Another thing that wasn't resolved was the satanic panic. The townspeople just suddenly vanished with everything. And that links into Eddie's character, because we watched the documentary about the West Memphis 3. I don't know how long before we did this. It was a charming lunchtime documentary. Yeah, so I've never actually heard of this like case before Stranger Things, because people made links to Eddie.
Wait, should not be better talking about the wider satanic panic?
Well, yeah, there is that as well, yeah.
How that kind of links into... So the satanic panic was kind of like this morality crisis. I'm not going to get too into the history of it, so I'm not like misquoting or misrepresenting things. But basically it was like Christian values versus everything else, the other. So like metal music, queerness, fantasy, all of these fell under the quote-unquote satanic panic. Basically anything different, bad, different, against the order of society must be in league with Satan, because how can things be different from quote-unquote how everyone else is? So it's like the fact that your main characters, like, it's kind of almost forgotten because the bully characters aren't there anymore. But especially when you watch season 1, these characters were so bullied because they were different. And there is not even like the satanic panic, but rejection of anything different, which then led into the satanic panic. And I think that was like when they brought in Eddie, and it was like how Dungeons and Dragons was seen as the epitome of all evil. How it was like possessing kids, and how rock music was possessing, promoting the devil. Like that's how like parental advisory explicit content got led to being put onto CDs, because I think they were originally trying to ban it.
Really? I didn't know about that.
I think there's a good documentary on YouTube that I'll show you after this, but it was Frank Zappa, lead singer of Twisted Sister, and somebody else. It was a very big court case.
Oh wow.
And instead of having it banned, they instead got parental advisory explicit content put on it so that it then became the choice of the individual to get it or not.
Mm-hmm.
But because otherwise it would be, oh my god, my child bought this album by Iron Maiden and I am shocked that there's a guitar riff in it.
Really?
Or
Even
things
stuff like that?
Well, it wasn't like guitar riff, like singing about literally anything. Oh, you're just singing about Satan.
Yeah.
So I think it's like Tipper or something was like the face of the moral outrage movement.
Mm-hmm.
So there was that big court case. So basically the law didn't really know what to do, or was on the side of people promoting the satanic panic. And I'm not really sure what happened with Dungeons and Dragons specifically. I think it was just something that alternative people were into.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you have this character, actually I think like your main 4 characters were also bullied for liking Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh yeah, back in season 1 they were just bullied for just being considered just nerds or something like that because of the game they played and stuff in like their basement and stuff. They were bullied by those, I can't remember the names of the boys, but I know ones that ends up nearly putting Mike over a cliff almost at one point. You kind of forget about all those characters. Like, you know, it's just, there's also different types of bullies because you also have Angela who bullies Elle in season 4. It's a whole different type of bully. She's just bullied because Elle's just considered different for another reason, and the fact that Elle's way behind stuff. And we were talking about this, why was Elle put in high school? She doesn't know basic maths and stuff.
Yeah, that, I didn't get the Lenora plot. Like, on one hand, I do get, like, Elle is a person, she's a human being, she has to learn how to function in society. And you kind of did that with going into high school. And, like, they've established that the Byers are quite a poor family, so they could not have Joyce not working to homeschool Elle. And I also, like, they were trying to keep Elle away from the government, so they couldn't have Elle in any government specialist education facilities or anything like that, so they had to have her hidden away as possible in a school. So I think it's kind of quote unquote the best they could have got for Elle. But one thing I don't get is they had Jane Hopper being her name. Why is Will calling her Elle in high school
in like public?
Yeah, it's like the scene where it's like she has like the whole "my dad is my hero" thing.
Yeah.
And she's like walking away, and Will's just going out, Elle, Elle, Elle. People know her as Jane. Are they not gonna go? Why is he calling Jane Elle?
I thought that too. I thought that was really weird. It's like you can't even like say it's a nickname or something like that. Like it's so different to what her legal hidden name is. Like her false, no, it's not her false name. It's like she is legally Jane because like her mum, but in the government eyes, this name hides her because they don't know that it's her name. If that makes sense. Whereas if you shout Elle,
then like call her Ellie, call her Ailey, call her anything.
Elizabeth, that's Elle.
Yeah,
something like that. You know, that made no sense to me at all. There was some plot holes, but then we were talking about this earlier. Believability of the show, it is getting less and less as not that it ever was believable. But you know, like, season one,
suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, season 1 felt like the suspension of disbelief was at a level that it was kind of believable that it could happen. But now season 4 is kind of like maybe not.
Everything felt earned. You saw them like cycling everywhere, so travel made sense. You saw them be friends, so their friendship made sense. Even like can't remember the name of the club, but the radio club, where it's like they're playing with that technology, which then led to the AV club, which then led to their walkie-talkie system always being used, it being a key instrument in the plot. Everything felt earned because you saw it get built up to it. And that's kind of what was missing in season 4. You didn't see the moments of friendship unless it was like big plot moments. You missed those little bonding moments. You missed these characters who really connected. This makes sense.
Yeah, because even really moments you saw with like them being friends and stuff, like in characters, it still had like a great relevance to plot. Like for example, even like Robin and Steve's first scene together when they're in Steve's car, they're talking about Vicky, who then appears later on again. Like it's not just a conversation that doesn't have any meaning between Robin and Steve. Like yeah, it's a good comfort like discussion. It's quite funny, that one. Yeah. I love Steve and Robin so much, but it does kind of link into later on at that point, and it's kind of like I don't know. Yeah, I get season 1. I think season 1 to 3 also felt some more compacted, and it's like they all like really were close, like interlinked, all the plot lines, whereas season 4 is kind of like they're kind of looser. Like, I mean, California, for example, is the other side of like states, more or less, from Indiana, where Hawkins is. It's about disbelief of this could happen at the same time.
Yeah, it's like California was very much comic relief. Like, Elle was there, then it was comic relief until they got Elle back, and then it was how can we have Elle link back to the Hawkins plot with the piggyback.
Piggyback to the pizza dough oven, pizza dough freezer, or something like that.
I mean,
that was the oven.
Yeah, it was the freezer, but I feel like it was as well done as they could have done, where it's like, why are they making such a big deal about Surfer Boy pizza? How it's like, oh, we get the joke, it's a funny pizza van. Oh, he's pointing out that Surfer Boy Pizza has expanded beyond California, how it's now in Nevada.
Yeah.
So it was like they did all the setup to make it believable that there was a Surfer Boy Pizza there, so they could have space for Elle to have that sensory deprivation chamber so that she could go and fight Vecna. But it just felt very comic relief, and I did not like the way that they handled Jonathan and Argyle smoking weed. It was just, they made weed a punchline.
Yeah, that made no sense. Like, to one extent, because I think Jonathan does it because of like the trauma he's been through and stuff. But they just kind of, they didn't say that's why. They kind of just meant, yeah, he does weed now with Argyle. And Argyle, like, yeah, he was a comic relief character, but at the end of the day, he was just like, did they have any sense of the plot apart from the fact that he drove the van and got to Pizza Boy? Apart from that, not really.
Like, let's just take, I mean, the actor that plays Argyle is very charming, very good character, very well played. But if you take Argyle out and have Jonathan working in the pizza place
with his car,
yeah, the plot just becomes a lot more succinct.
Yeah.
And it's like Jonathan, especially, like, there are a few characters I felt kind of got left by the wayside. Number one was Jonathan, because the idea that he was stepping up to protect his family, finding himself, like, how is this really bullied, beaten down character in season 1? What is this doing? The fact that he wants to break up with Nancy but doesn't. Where is this coming from? Where is a sense of family? Because the only parts you really get, I mean, when they're done, they're very well done. It's like when he looks at Will and he wants to say, I want to help you, but you have to let me help you. When you have those bits where it's like Will basically confesses his love to Mike through Elle, and Jonathan gives him that really, really, that sad look.
Because he knows.
Yeah, the look that absolutely breaks your heart. Have more moments like that. So you have moments like that, then you also have ha-ha, stoner, comic relief. And it just felt a bit...
I feel like a juxtaposition. Like, it just felt so jarring, almost. Like, it was... If it was a different plot line from that to have the comedy, that would make more sense. But it's the fact that it's the same plot line.
And it's the fact that Steve, Nancy and Jonathan got really butchered this season. Because I saw this thing and it was like, Jonathan and Nancy didn't have chemistry, they just trauma bonded.
Oh, I saw that, yeah. And because I rewatched 1, 2 and 3 after Volume 1 of Season 4 dropped. And yeah, they do kind of, they only start talking because Nancy sees Jonathan put up the missing posters for Will, and then she kind of talks to him, and that's the first time they properly interact. So that's when she talks to us, because of the missing posters.
And it's like, Jonathan's looking for Will. Nancy's work is like trying to like avenge or find out what happened to Barb. So it makes sense that they then, once they spend time apart, grow apart, and how their futures are looking very different. But that's never really explored. You don't really see as much Nancy's side of the discussion until they get back, they're reunited, and it does feel very trauma bondy.
Yeah.
But what happened with like Nancy and Steve is like they both have feelings for each other, and I completely get why they didn't get together, because at the end of the day, if they did get together, if they did kiss, Nancy would still be cheating on Jonathan. And that just wouldn't be a thing that Nancy would do. She would not be a cheater. She would have that conversation with Jonathan.
I saw a thing about Steve in that aspect oh, you know how he like confesses to Nancy about he wants like a kids. They must like 6 kids and like a go on holiday stuff and be like, basically just like a normal like dad and type like that. And someone just went, that's kind of a backtrack of his character, because at one point he wanted to be something, like leave Hawkins. He didn't leave Hawkins because he didn't get into college, so that's why he ends up in the ice cream parlour, Strips Ahoy, and then got the job with Robin, like in the DVD place. So then by saying that again, it's like they've just completely backtracked some of his character development. He literally just becoming just like a stereotypical like white boy of that age, if that makes sense. A lot of people were annoyed by him saying that, I noticed.
I mean, even then, just play into it, kind of talk about how Steve couldn't get out of Hawkins, so now he's becoming the thing that he didn't want to be.
Mm-hmm. And the fact they said, oh, that's what my dream is, I was kind of like, well, should that be like your nightmare, because that's what you're trying to get away from.
Yeah, so kind of have that discussion where like Nancy almost gives him a confused look.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I feel like, again, there was just too much going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you want to spend a lot of time having Steve and Nancy have an in-depth conversation, what are you going to cut?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they could have cut out a lot of the Russia plot.
Yeah, I was excited for the Russia plot because I love Hopper, I love Murray, and I love Joyce. So I thought going into it, this is going to be a great plot. There was so much, but I was sitting there going, oh, we're back to that plot. And same with the Elle plot when she left the California gang. Obviously it was interesting, but at the same time I was just kind of like, can we wrap this up? Can we get back to like either Hawkins or one of the other plot lines?
I feel like if we'd cared more about the scientists, it could have been really good.
Mm-hmm.
But
we kind of guessed Elle was getting her powers back.
Yeah, and I feel like Elle was more there so we could get the flashbacks for Vecna, for One, for how that actually works. But just with the Russia plot, the cast is brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the guy that plays Enzo, he was in Game of Thrones, he's brilliant. Like, when I saw him...
Oh, you mean Antonov?
Antonov, I was like, yes, I love this guy. But I feel like it's kind of stopped working once Yuri managed to get Joyce and Murray knocked out of the coffee, because Murray would have never touched that coffee.
That really annoyed me because of all the people to have a character that happened to. Murray is not that. Murray... Can we just go back to like season 2 where his house literally had like security cameras and everything? He was like proper like paranoid because like he wrote controversial stuff that the government didn't like and stuff like that. He effectively shut down the lab in season 2 because you remember at the end he's sitting waving at those scientists like waving gleefully. Why would he just drink coffee a random Russian person gave to him?
Yeah, because he was very, very skeptical. He was like, yeah, Joyce, you're going to pay 50 grand. You're gonna go to Alaska, you're gonna pay 50 grand and you're not gonna get Hopper back.
Mm-hmm.
He only kind of went to protect Joyce. But he's like, oh, this strange, untrustworthy smuggler man has given us coffee.
Oh, that's fine, I'll just drink it. Nothing's gonna happen. Nothing could possibly happen.
Because like you saw them like both, like you saw Joyce collapse, but Murray was
has already collapsed. He drank it first.
Yeah, I thought that he was pretending to be asleep. Like maybe he smelled it, or maybe he was like, the vibes are off, he's been on the phone for too long, or this, so I'm going to pretend to be asleep and see what happens. No, he was actually knocked out, but yeah, they managed to defeat him on the plane and then land it. It just felt...
I mean, that was quite good.
Very well done, very well acted, but it just felt too slapstick. Like, have the issues come from elsewhere. Don't have if your character has to act out of character or do something very dumb for your plot to happen, you should change your plot, because when people watch a show, they watch it for the characters. Or maybe the plot might draw people to a show, but characters is what keeps them at the show. So when you have to have your characters doing dumb things for your plot, change your plot, because the plot is easier to change than the character.
I think that links on quite well to our next part. Favourite characters. Who are your favourite characters?
I really loved Bob. I think Sean Astin is a brilliant actor, and it was just very refreshing.
I remember seeing him when he appeared like in season 2, and I was like, oh my god, it's Samwise Gamgee. And obviously like I knew him from
Goonies.
Yeah, but what's his character called in Goonies?
Oh no.
Is it Mikey?
Mikey, yeah.
Mikey. Yeah. I was like, oh my god, it's Mikey. Like, I think it was... That's the thing about Stranger Things. The adult actors are high profile, like people from the 80s.
Yeah.
That I didn't realise.
The Winona Ryder resurgence.
Yes.
God bless.
I love her so much. Like, she's just amazing in all the roles she's ever played that I've seen, but I've seen a lot of them now.
It's the way that she got cancelled in the 90s for shoplifting. That is why she stopped getting roles.
Really?
She shoplifted. And then they made her out to just be this horrible, unstable, just horrible person because
when
she
did that
shoplifted.
happen?
I can't remember when in the 90s, but it was in the 90s.
Yeah, because she was in
Beetlejuice. She was in
Heathers. She was in Alien Resurrection, which was 97.
Wow.
Have you not seen that?
No, I didn't know that.
It's on Disney Plus. Oh, I've got the DVD, I can lend you it. It's not the best Alien film, but it's quite good, and I quite like Winona Ryder in it, so... she plays, Cal, I think her character's called. Yeah, so she's in Alien Resurrection, which was 97, so yeah, she was in that. And Alien's quite a big franchise thing, I guess. I don't really know how well received Resurrection was, because it was I'm going on a track here, but it was after Alien 3, which came out in the early 90s, which is not the best ones. So I don't really know how hyped Alien Resurrection was, so maybe it was because of like that she got the and because of the accusation. I don't know. But Winona Ryder is the queen of horror when you think about it.
Yeah,
she really is. She's brilliant. You've got other like famous people in it as well. You've got going back to Alien, the person that plays Dr. Owens, he's in Aliens. Can't remember his name, but he's like a CEO corporation person. You've also got apparently the person that plays the mayor in season 3 was in the Princess Diaries or Bride, I can't remember.
Bride was one in the 80s, the Princess Diaries was 2000s.
Right, it'll be the Bride. Princess Bride then, I knew it was one of the two. Who else is in this?
Victor Creel being
Victor
played by Freddy Krueger.
Yeah,
you went on like how much the parallels between A Nightmare on Elm Street and Stranger Things season 4, and I will let you...
Okay, so I'm only just getting into horror stuff properly, so I never seen Nightmare on Elm Street until I managed to find Dark Cheating in a Charity Shop, and I knew that it was season 4, the 4 volume 2 dropped, season 1, can't talk, volume 1 had dropped, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch Nightmare on Elm Street, it's like 50 pence in a charity shop, I'm gonna buy it, I'm gonna see what they're talking about, because the person that plays Freddy Krueger plays Victor Creel. I thought, this is nice to be 80s callback. No. Oh my gosh, the amount of influence from Nightmare on Elm Street is insane. So for example, the dying in your dreams, Vecna puts you into this like trance state and you basically get killed by him, including floating to the ceiling. The first death in Nightmare on Elm Street, this girl like sleeping and she kind of like gets mutilated on her ceiling, like so she gets killed by same way you get killed by nightmares, and then the way of stopping Freddy Krueger, spoiler, but like Nightmare on Elm Street came out in what, like the early 80s,
74, 84, I think.
What's going on? I'm quite Google it
yeah.
while I talk. The way to stop him is to basically show that you're not scared anymore, i.e. Vecna, that's music. Nightmare on Elm Street is basically Nancy going, I'm not scared of you, I'm not scared of you, and that kills him. But it literally does put you in like a trance state, because Nancy, when you fall asleep, you don't fall asleep because he kills you in your dreams. Nancy falls asleep. Also, Nancy, is that another callback?
Nancy Wheeler.
Nancy falls asleep in school, and she has these like weird visions of like these like school students with like Freddy Krueger's like fingers and all that, and then he comes forward, but she wakes up. There is so many. There's probably things that I've lost, that I've forgotten about, but that was the main ones that really got me of how well influenced they were.
Also, you mentioned claw hands, Vecna's hands.
Yes, Vecna's hands basically stabs into your face, and Freddy Krueger's basically like more or less just slash you.
The knife hands, fingers.
And also not only, so same with like both Stranger Things and Nightmare on Elm Street, even though you die in like a trance or like a sleep thing, the physical like damage is still on you, like in the waking world. It really is really close. Right, Nightmare on Elm Street, I've just googled it. It was 84. Because it was Johnny Depp's first ever role. That's why.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I completely forgot it wasn't until I was like, wait, what?
Also, if you want a deep dive to fall into Nightmare on Elm Street 2, and I will send you a podcast with the interview with the main actor in it, because Queer Panic.
Oh, okay. Send me that. That's quite interesting. Yeah, so that's the people top of my head I can think about that are in it that are famous 80s people. Because David Harbour didn't start acting until the 2000s. He didn't start until quite a bit older.
Are any of the parents?
Oh, obviously put me Winona Ryder. I don't think so. I don't think any of them are like people that I remember.
I think that's the thing. It's like for a lot of these cast members, this is their first iconic role, and it's also our first like TV role. Maybe someone being like theatre, like a Sadie Sink and another one.
Gates and Matarazzo.
Yeah, they were famous on Broadway, and then they got brought into Stranger Things, and like Sadie Sink and like the Taylor Swift All Too Well music video. Like this has springboarded so many amazing actors into the mainstream.
Oh, yeah, because Sadie Sink's also in the Fear Street trilogy, in the second one, and she's brilliant in that. I highly recommend that. It's a great trilogy. So is that your favorite? So other favorite characters is just Antonov or other ones?
Antonov, who else? Robin is very good queer representation and also very realistic representation for being gay in the 80s in small town America.
Yes, 100%, because she has a discussion with Steve going, I can't just ask Becky out because if she's the wrong girl, like for Steve, like your reputation gets damaged, okay, so what? But with her, she literally in her words becomes a town pariah, and that is literally what you were seeing like if you're queer in the 80s in a small town that was not accepting, you were seen as like a pariah.
And I was like,
basically
that was like pre Matthew Shepard, that was during the AIDS crisis. So I think that's what Stranger Things got a lot of criticism for, Will not explicitly coming out.
He can.
Yeah, he has a crush on his best friend who has a girlfriend. Like, there's just nothing. Will couldn't come out to Mike, and Mike wouldn't go, oh, Will, I love you too.
Yeah.
Like, it's an excellent portrayal of unrequited love, of having a crush on your friend but you can never tell them. So the scene where Will was talking about how much he loves Mike but doing it
via L,
like talking on L's behalf, but really he was saying it. I think that's a very good way of showing what it was like, and yeah, that's...
Yeah, no, I love Robin too. Robin's one of my favourites. She's very much like me in the way that she's clumsy, talks too like fast half the time, so talks too much. Like people tell that she talks too much and all that. It's me. I remember Katie literally was going, oh my gosh, Robin is literally you, and I'm like, yep, I know, Robin is very much like me. Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, I love Robin. She's brilliant. I love her and Steve's friendship.
That's so cute.
I'm so glad. Well, the writers didn't make Robin gay. It was Maya Hawke herself asked the brothers to make Robin gay for representation for just people, and that's how it happened. And did she avoid being the new character getting killed off? Probably, to be honest, because apart from also they killed off Alexei in season 3, but she kind of has like the main character type role, which we'll get on later, that they kill off. But did she avoid it because she was queer? Maybe.
Yeah, because I think I don't know. I feel like characters kind of have to die to remind you that there are stakes, but it's how do you do it? Like,
it's never the main ones.
Yeah, I feel like that was kind of the thing. Like, I don't know if we're going to discuss it later on, but we had made bingo sheets of kind of what we expected was going to happen, and a lot of us had a lot more people dying.
Do you not have yours here? Did you take yours? That's mine, and that's Rachel's. So I've got my notepad here.
Like, it's alright, like,
maybe you took yours.
Maybe.
Well, so for example, Rachel has tons on hers. So she has Eddie dying, which is the one cross that she got. I won, but at what cost, basically, for my bingo, though. So Rachel has Eddie dying, which unfortunately did happen. Robin dying, Susie dying. Susie didn't appear in volume 2, but, you know...
No, Susie was... Oh, yeah, Susie was in volume 1, not volume 2, sorry.
Who else did she have killed? Will dies. And then... Vecna dying, which Vecna didn't die. Also, another horror movie callback. See when Vecna falls out the house and then he vanishes. That's how Michael Myers vanishes at the end of the first Halloween film. Thank you very much. Yeah, I was too emotional at the time to realise that, and then the scenes replay in my head and stuff, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it's the Michael Myers like parallel. So there you go, Halloween one for you.
Oh.
Thank you. So for me, I had Steve dying. I was sure Steve was going to die.
I thought it was going to be like a full circle moment where how Nancy and Steve started the series together but not right for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And how they broke up, went their own separate ways, developed in their own ways, and would try getting back together when they actually work, when they've actually gone through all of this. But the idea that you can't go back to the way things were, you can't undo the upside down, you can't undo Will's disappearance, you can't undo the mind flayer.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be personified by Steve and Nancy maybe like admitting feelings for each other,
Mm-hmm.
but not being able to act on it before one of them dies. Like, I thought Nancy was a goner. I thought that when Vecna got her at the end of Volume 1, that was her done.
I knew she wasn't because I bought the teaser trailer for him too.
And this is why you don't watch trailers, folks.
Sorry, but I did. So I got Steve dying. I had something bad happens to Max, which we both had, and we were both correct about.
I had Max leaves Hawkins because
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought after, I'm not going to call it the fake out death, but I thought they were going to kill off Max. So when they didn't, I was like, it would then be a waste to then kill her off later on. But it could even be make her even more of a tragic figure.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of childhood lost because of all the things you go through. I just wish it didn't happen to her because she...
Max one of the best characters.
Yeah.
I love her. So I had that, so I got that one. I had Nancy dying, because we were sure she was going to die. I had Antonov dying, and I also had Murray dying, because I thought one of them, Russia, I thought, is annoying how one of them didn't die.
They got out too easily.
They got out way too
like,
easily.
I know you might say, oh, helicopter, oh, all of this, oh, they had to go and fight the Upside Down. What they did there, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just say you're going to kill the Demogorgon, but the idea that you're weakening the bond to the Upside Down just felt a bit off. There wasn't enough lore to kind of make that make sense. So either they should have decided to stay in Russia, or just not have that at all. Just have they abducted some Demogorgons. Don't have them opening up the Upside Down there.
Yeah, and there's a big thing that we thought, no, people thought that it was going to be like linked to Chernobyl. Like Chernobyl was going to blow up, and that's where the portal was because historically, Chernobyl happened in April 86 or something, and this is set end of March 86, so it kind of would link if they had a few more days.
It's because they're on opposite ends of the Soviet Union, because I looked on a map to see where Kamchatka is. So it's the peninsula right on the east.
Right across from Alaska.
Yeah, it's like the bit where it's literally
I know where Chernobyl
very,
is,
very close.
obviously.
Like Chernobyl's away
Yeah,
in Ukraine.
Yeah, I know where Chernobyl is.
So it's like literally opposite ends of the biggest country to have ever existed.
Yeah, that makes sense then. Because I didn't know where they were in Russia, to be fair. But I think that would have been kind of interesting if I had done that. I just felt time-wise it'd be good. I got the, completely like off, but I'm still my bingo card. I got the song that Eddie was going to play correct.
The way that people had analysed what chords he was playing to then figure out what song it
It
was.
was Master of Puppets by Metallica, and I wrote that down and I got that.
I wanted it to be Call Me by Blondie so bad. I knew it wasn't going to be that.
As you said there in a Blondie t-shirt. Yes. Is when he first started playing the first few chords, I was like, I just knew straight away. I was like, oh my god, it is! Because that is now my most played song right now, currently. And the fact that it's actually Joseph Quinn playing the first few chords, the chords apart from the solo, is amazing. I didn't realise at the time, but I've rewatched that scene many times because it is iconic. It is, in Dustin's quote, the most metal concert ever.
And it's the fact that in Universe the song came out 2 weeks before that.
He literally learned it in 2 weeks.
He learned it in 2 weeks on top of school, the year he wanted to graduate, so he was actually working on school stuff and on top of running at least one well thought out D&D campaign.
Yeah, that links to favourite characters. If you know me, you know my favourite character is Eddie. I love him so much. Best friend vibes. I'd love to be his best friend.
I have a confession to make, and Em got very mad at me for this, but originally I thought that Eddie was going to be a villain because he seemed too good to be true. And the idea that their D&D campaign, the main villain in it was Vecna, I was like, how do you know who Vecna is? But then it's like, D&D callbacks, like they had like the Demogorgon.
Mm-hmm.
So Will saying, "Oh, the Demogorgon, it got me," right before he goes missing.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie and Vecna, I was like, Eddie just seems too good to be true. It wasn't until Chrissy happened, and I was like, oh, what's going on here? Oh, maybe Eddie doesn't know, but he still somehow calls it, which immediately got dispelled when you actually get to see more of Eddie's character beyond this figure, like the leader of the Hellfire Club, and you actually see Eddie Munson.
Mm-hmm. You actually see him as actually who he is. I still can't believe you saw he, but I remember you sent that text and I was like, excuse me, this friendship's about to be over.
Cheers, mate.
Not joking, of course, that's not a friendship breaker. But, or is it?
Shocked.
No, I just love Eddie so much. He's such a brilliant character. And the thing is, people think he's made out to be kind of like stupid in the way that like he's repeating last year for the second time, because he makes me like our age.
Mm-hmm.
When he's actually not, because he literally admits, he makes a Lord of the Rings reference, which films didn't exist then, so he's read the books. People are convinced that he's probably like dyscalculia or something. It's maths is what's, because obviously if you don't pass all your subjects, you don't graduate in the States.
Like, you could like fail PE.
I probably still were repeating years because I could never get my higher maths, for example.
I would just fail PE. Like, there was this episode of The Simpsons and Lisa was getting held back a year because she failed in PE.
Jeez, I think it's mental that you have to pass school, because school is not for everyone. Think about it, you leave school, not everyone goes to university or college here.
And it's like, you can be just out in the world of work and you can see people that are very smart, they know exactly what they're doing, very skilled at their job, and they left school without Nat 5s.
Yeah, like I only have a Nat 5 in maths.
Yeah, it's like school doesn't really mean anything, this coming from someone that's pretty decent in school.
No, but see, this is the person who wrote an essay for French the night before and somehow managed to get a C in the final exam. So that yeah, school, not for everyone really, isn't it? It's never for you.
The exam that I was nearly late for.
I forgot about that. And then because I didn't know you were late for that, because I was also a separate room, because if you don't know, I have awful handwriting, had to get a scribe at school.
I had people waiting for me downstairs. I think Rachel and Ruth were literally waiting for me downstairs.
I wasn't there, I was in a separate room. Because obviously you all had to wait for me afterwards, because I got extra time as well.
I blame the trains for me almost being late.
That's it, blame ScotRail for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I will. I can and I will. And I am.
But can you believe it though? It's like 3 years since that
No.
we left school.
No. Actually, no.
But no, but that's why I relate to Eddie a lot. Like, I struggled at school in terms of my handwriting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, my handwriting on my bingo card, you obviously can't see it, but I can post a picture on the Geek Show, like, Instagram, but it's decent, but it took ages to write that. I struggled with school, and I relate to him in that way. I also relate to him in being, like, almost, like, not fitting into school, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Our group didn't. Our group was, like, a mix-up of, like, all the people of other groups.
We were the cool ones.
We were the cool ones. Probably not seen that by everyone else, but we believed that. We believed that we were at school.
No, we didn't.
Let's
We knew we were uncool.
Let's put it this way, our group would definitely be invited to Hellfire Club if we were in Hawkins. You're not denying it, are you?
Nah.
No, you're not.
Alright, so do you want to talk about what theories we had going into Volume 2?
Mm-hmm.
And then what theories we've got going into Season 5?
Yep.
Because I think, this is quite a common one, but this one absolutely blew my mind. Vecna is the one that took Will back in Season 1, because the main villain in Season 1 was the Demogorgon. But the Demogorgon doesn't take you, it just kills you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was rewatching episode 1, and the Vecna's original character design is very similar to the figure in front of Will before he
Crashed his bike.
crashes his bike. There was also, I believe, a grandfather clock. What else was there? There was a flickering light, and how it's like they used the light to find out where Vecna is.
Mm-hmm.
It was a flickering light in the shed before Will was taken. I think the most, like, the nail in the coffin, what did Will sing in the Upside Down to keep him going?
Should I stay or should I go but on a loop?
the song that he has a very strong emotional connection to. And I think that's part of why the California crew was kept so separate, so that Will didn't have a moment of, oh shit, that's Vecna, here's how you defeat him, I dealt with him in the Upside Down, I know exactly what to do here.
I was thinking that too. I didn't even think about the whole Demogorgon not being the one that takes Will, because I was like, oh, but it took Barb, then I guess Barb got ate immediately.
Yeah, like it killed Barb.
It killed Barb, and I didn't think of that. But when you mentioned that to me, I was like, oh my god, that's why they put Will in California to an extent, because it made sense that he was away from Hawkins, because if he'd been in Hawkins, he'd be like, oh yeah, it's Vecna, that's how to defeat Vecna. And I sang a song, he didn't come near me. Alright, boom, credits roll after episode 1. Done, sorted, boom. Chrissy died, that's a shame, but everyone else survived. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel so bad for saying that.
But even like his connection to the Mind Flayer, and how at the end of season 4 he's kind of like nosebleeds touching the back of his neck. How it's like, how is Vecna going to get into this world? He needs a body.
He needs Will.
He needs Will.
That's why I think Will will have a villain arc, but it might not be him being the villain though, which is kind of sad. I'm not supportive of that villain arc, but I'm supportive of his own villain arc of him being the villain, Will himself.
I'm going, oh Vecna, you want to destroy this world?
Go for me. Oh, we did the opposite there. I feel bad by saying about Chrissy. Chrissy, R.I.P.
Why did Chrissy Wake Up become a song? It was such a sad moment. It was such a horrifying moment. It was the catalyst. I can see you laughing. It was a catalyst for the season properly starting. It was the, oh wow, this series means business. This villain means business. We are in real danger here. And then it's just the, did Chrissy wake up? I don't like this. Like how that became a song, and it's like,
it's charting. It's literally like number 15 last time I saw. My brother showed me.
No.
I got home, so I don't live with my parents if you don't know, but I got home, because I was staying with them for a bit, and my brother just started blasting Chrissy Wake Up, but from my room. So my parents probably thought it was me, not helping my case here. They probably thought it was me, but I didn't realise it was actually in the charts. Like, it's literally the song.
It's like, I was just like walking through town and I just saw like a bunch of kids doing like the TikTok dance to Chrissy Wake Up.
There's a TikTok dance to it?
I don't know, so I was just walking and like you can see like TikTokers out in the wild that had their phone propped against a wall. They were ready to like do like a dance. Oh, and then it was just Chrissy Wake Up, I don't like this, Chrissy Wake Up, and I'm like,
no,
you are outside a Sainsbury's. You are outside a Sainsbury's. Why are you dancing to Chrissy Wake Up?
That's got the most British thing ever. Did a TikTok dance outside Sainsbury's? Sainsbury's. But the thing is, why is it charting? And the thing is, like, Joseph Quinn knows about it now. He literally said in an interview when he was in, like, I think it was Brazil or something, does a bunch of, like, interviews with Jamie Campbell-Bower. If you've not seen their interviews, please go watch them. They're the funniest duo, especially the one where they do the in or out, like, sort of iTunes.
You sent me that one. That one's brilliant.
It's when the thing about Mandos come up. It's like Joseph Quinn's face is like, Mandos? What? What is that? But you know, he's aware of that song. But I think he never said if it like annoyed him or not, but I feel like it might, because he's like, it's like it's an emotional scene. Like Eddie's like terrified, like don't know what's happening. Chrissy's like dying on the ceiling basically, and now it's being made into a meme. Like it must be kind of annoying from like an actor's perspective,
because like that's got to be a scene that you'll be very very proud of. It's a very well written scene. It's a very well done horrifying scene. It's like I'm trying to think of like a parallel, like even just Hello Sydney, or like trying to like think of other like high impact emotional scenes, like kind of fucking berries in the Hunger Games, where it's like, oh, we're gonna eat these poison berries, oh, we're gonna save you both, that becoming a meme. Like you're then cheapening it. And when you watch that scene, instead of seeing like a very young person see his new friend who's already quite nervous about bringing Chrissy back, just because of from the reputation standpoint, he knows he is already in danger, but he is helping Chrissy because he's really nice. Yeah. But if word got out that the
Queen of Hawkins High basically was taking drugs off him.
Yeah, like he would still be like, I feel like Jason still would have tried to kill him.
Oh, no matter what, yeah.
No matter what. So he was taking a massive risk. And then for that big fear to happen, like, he's like, I don't like this. Like, genuine fear is very well performed.
Yeah.
And then watching your friend die in that way is so traumatic. And you can definitely tell it's weighing on his character, because Eddie pre-Chrissy versus Eddie post-Chrissy, you can definitely see, and he's very shaken in the scenes where he's in hiding.
Oh yeah, like when they find him in the Reefer Rick's boathouse, he's probably like shaking, like holding the bottle and stuff. It's tiny little things you notice like that. But yeah, I mean, going back to him being nice to Chrissy, in this house we do not ship Eddie and Chrissy. They were not a couple.
Friends.
They were definitely friends. It just annoys me that people do think they're a couple, especially just no matter what sexuality you think that Eddie is. He's 20.
The actress that plays Chrissy puts out the casting call for the character of Chrissy, and it confirms that Chrissy is 18 years old.
Oh, that's 2 years, but still, like, they weren't.
They're
not a couple. He was just being nicer because that's the type of person he is. Because you literally saw that he's an all-accepting person, hence the Hellfire Club.
Just because a male character and a female character interact, that doesn't mean that the interactions are romantic.
Exactly.
It's an interesting idea of how they both said they were scared of the other one. It's a very good exploration of social life in high school and different social groups, very much the in crowd and the out crowd,
yeah,
and how both are actually scared of each other.
Yeah, exactly. And let's be honest, do we think Eddie's into girls? I don't think so.
Eddie's into Steve.
Eddie likes Steve, and if you do not believe us, just rewatch those scenes. There's some scenes that Steve's not looking at Eddie's eyes, he's looking at Eddie's lips, I've noticed. When talking about Eddie's going on about like, oh, what he did back there was very metal with the Ozzy Osbourne like reference and stuff. Yeah, Steve's not looking at Eddie's eyes.
It's a bit pretty.
It is. So yeah, no, but poor Chrissy. I like Chrissy. I think she could have been but she was obviously written to just be like a disposable character, I guess, but she could have had potential if she hadn't died. But
it was that her death scene was filmed before her scene with Eddie.
They didn't realise how much chemistry the two would have on screen, yeah.
Although Chrissy as a tragic character, I think Chrissy's death really set this season apart. This is not... I'm going to call season 3 lighthearted because it was like the fight at the mall. A lot of it was comic relief. Mm-hmm. How singing a never-ending story saved the day. That scene with them singing it and there's the monster like chasing them in the background of the car and it's Steve and Robin in the boot just going, what? It's a very light-hearted season compared to the rest of them. So it was very good to kind of snap you into it of this isn't the fun, never-ending story. Boom, her story just ended. Like... We are not messing around here.
How much were you thinking of that pun?
I wasn't. It just came up there.
Oh, that's quite good, that one. I like that. True. People obviously also, you know, actually the first time we probably meet Chrissy, she's throwing up in the toilet. Oh no, like...
It's Jason saying, I love you, Chrissy.
Yeah, but then like when she probably like, speaks is when she's in the toilet. People thought she was throwing up because she's pregnant. It's not. If you actually think about like her vision stuff, she's got an eating disorder. I think she's got bulimia because she's like throwing up. And it was, which is also makes it more tragic.
Yeah, because it was like Vecna's trauma. The trauma that Vecna capitalised on was her. I'm assuming it's her mother.
Yeah.
Abusing her.
Yeah, literally. And then her dad can't say anything. Hence, in the vision where his like eyes are like mouth are sewn shut, we think about like her mum's obviously the controlling person in the household, and her dad can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
It's even just with stuff like that you just pick up on, which I think Stranger Things is brilliant at. It's little details you somehow suddenly get this whole character's like family like dynamic by just a vision like that, like the horror stuff. Yeah,
it's like the idea that she had quote unquote this perfect life. She was a cheerleader, she was dating the head of the basketball team, they were quote unquote in love, even though you don't actually get any scenes
that they actually confirm that, apart from Jason blowing a kiss to Chrissy, but that could just be like...
And her smiling.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's kind of the same as just like a wave, I guess. I think it's kind of funny though how you and I, when watching episode 9, where you were like crying about Max, I was crying about Eddie being dead. It took us a few seconds to realize the fact that Jason basically sliced in half.
See, on my bingo, I had Jason goes into the upside down because just like I feel like the satanic panic leading to the town getting up in arms could have been done very well. It's really interesting because whenever you're watching a show and all the characters stay in the same town and so much weird stuff happens, you're like, why are the townspeople not doing stuff? So satanic panic, you have the figurehead, you have Eddie, the town very quickly got mobilised. Nothing happened beyond that. Like, you had the vigilantism, which then led to the town hall, which then led to the town getting up in arms, as in they were in the town hall, the police had lost control and they were ready to go and kill children, but they were not mentioned in volume 2. The closest you get is when they go to the gun shop and then Nancy has that interaction with Jason and Eddie wearing the Mike Myers mask, but
that was brilliant. That was a callback to season 2, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was like beyond that you don't get anything. So if you're going to give me townspeople vigilantism, if you're going to give me satanic panic, actually give it the depth it deserves and actually have them both dealing with Vecna and dealing with the townspeople. Because in like the post quote unquote fake earthquake, Dustin is helping people. Wouldn't people go, aren't you in the Hellfire Club?
I noticed that. Like, Lucas and Dustin were just out and about, and I was just like...
No, the townspeople think you're satanic murderers. Like, you should be hiding. And how it's like the reactions of the parents, how they all banded together to find the kids. Why wouldn't the townspeople, if they were out for blood, be going round to their houses to try and find them? Like, you don't really get that. And I get, like, turning the setting into a character that's fighting your characters is a very hard thing to do. So don't do it unless you're going to commit to it, and they didn't commit to it. Like, they wanted to raise the stakes, but they didn't want to add in another villain because they had the government, because they had the Russians, because they had Vecna. They didn't have the time to add in anything else, but they still tried to, and it just felt very crowded in an underwhelming way. So hopefully they do a bit more of it in season 5, where you actually deal with the townspeople, where you deal with what's happened to Hawkins.
Exactly. The only thing you really saw was Jason's discussion, the townspeople in the shop, like you said, and then just the missing posters for Eddie
Getting defaced.
Oh, that scene where Dustin talks to his Uncle Wayne was really upsetting as well.
Oh, that was heartbreaking.
Because it has to keep replacing like the poster.
The fact that he'd printed out that many.
And also, people pointed out that their trailer got destroyed, right? So it's like Wayne's like doesn't have any like possession or anything like that now. So he doesn't have any pictures of Eddie. He's had to probably ask one of the Hellfire Club members for like a picture of him for the poster.
Oh my god.
I know. When you think about it, it's really heartbreaking. Like, also, do you think Max's mum died? Because that part opened up that trailer, and Max's trailer is across from theirs. Was her mum in? Because her mum's not in the hostel when they're visiting her.
I think they kind of established a troubled home life for Max. So I don't know if the mum was able to go. Yeah, and I don't know if Max's mum had thought that Max had died and had just left.
That is true. Because he only saw the mum, but only in a vision.
I just feel like Max got... I get why Eddie got this big reaction. I think we're going to dedicate a bit of time to talking about Eddie specifically. But when I watched this, I knew Max was going to get overshadowed by Eddie. Because Max, I think, has suffered a fate worse than death. I would rather Max had just died.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that she's body broken, I think it's been confirmed that she's brain dead because Vecna did consume her, which allowed him to start taking over the world, but she is still alive and her heart's beating, so it's like, you know, what's still there. And my heart broke where it's like the scene with Lucas is in the hospital and he's just reading the book to her because like he doesn't know if she's there and can hear him, but she just can't respond.
Because I think she is confirmed to be brain dead, but it's like, does Vecna have a brain? Like her mind, is that why she's not there? It's
like, can she be saved? Is she gonna come back, or is she gonna die? And I feel like either you should have killed her off with Vecna getting her the first time with the Dear Billy. They were too late, or they didn't figure it out in time, but you can't almost kill her and then not kill her, and then almost kill her and then not kill her again. Like, I had Max and I had Eddie as the only two characters definitely surviving, because they wouldn't kill Max twice, and they wouldn't keep doing that thing where they introduce a new character and then kill them off. I think that's what one of your...
Gravely mistaken.
No, that's what someone had said as well.
Yes,
the points
so who was it? Oh yeah, so Bethany Dema gives a few points, so I'll quickly read them out. So Bethany said that the constant killing of a new character is getting predictable, so the Eddie's death was annoying because of that. The Eddie's death? What? The death of Eddie was annoying because of that. Not a couple of things, I'll just read them out now while we're here.
Yeah.
She said that she liked the D&D with the basketball game, like the scene mixing the two together was amazing and gave her literal chills. And then she also loved that Will was basically confirmed gay. She loved that. Devin said that the form of the season on how the gang split up and solve the mysteries and my handwriting back to that, and then how they all came back to the finale, end up working together, was great. She also said that one of her favourite it was one of her favourite seasons so far. I really loved the new characters too, and loved the fact that it was a darker season. So that's what they said. The constant killing of new characters, that was annoying.
Yeah, because it's like, I don't even know, like, they were kind of there to serve a purpose, and they're there to kind of be that, oh shit, look, this one's dead. But I feel like one thing this season was kind of missing, and I get why it was missing, because you had to have those plots going on, but the friendship between your main four characters, Mike, Lucas, Dustin and Will, that was completely missing. They were all in their own different ones. And just when we're talking about the basketball D&D scene, the fact that Lucas had left the group to go and join basketball, and how none of them went to go see his game, and how they were like, why are we coming to go and watch your game? You're just going to sit on the bench. And the one game that they don't go to is the one game where Lucas...
He's not on the bench.
Where Lucas wins, and how the end of their campaign, Lucas wasn't there for. How this group got fractured. Again, because Will had left. But the idea that it wasn't really explored. How there was no Lucas feeling abandoned because he was like, look, it really hurt that you didn't come to my basketball game, or it really hurt that you didn't come to our D&D session. There was no catharsis in that. And then also there was very little discussion of, oh, we miss Will, we would have loved Will to be in the Hellfire Club. Like, that felt kind of missing, and that was the heart that I think is what drew people to Stranger Things season 1.
Yeah.
It was these four kids being friends, going on this adventure, trying to save their friends, trying to help this girl they found in the woods. And it was how they all became friends together, and it was them being friends that saved Elle, that saved Will, that saved Hawkins. And by season 4, Will and Mike and Elle are away in California. Lucas is half the season with the basketball vigilantes, and then Dustin's predominantly with Steve.
Another thing that really annoyed me was, in season 3, they literally don't play D&D with Will, because they're like, we like girls, we've got like girl problems and all that. And then when Will leaves for California, he's like, I don't want to play another campaign, I'll wait till I come back. And they're like, oh, that's fine, I won't play D&D anyway. And they literally then join the Hellfire Club like 9 months later. Or potentially probably earlier than 9 months, but it's set 9 months later. What? Like, that really annoyed me. It just kind of was like, that's kind of portrayal of Will completely, their friendship. I sometimes just feel like they are friends, but I suppose like a lot of friendship groups are, like, they do other things. There's things they do that aren't great for each other, if that makes sense.
I think, like, they are kids, and like, kids make mistakes, and I think it's all very believable. But again, there was no comment of like Mike going, hey Will, I think you'd love the Hellfire Club, or anything like that. Like, the closest you get is Will's painting, and it's of their D&D group.
Yeah. So I think 2 more points before we wrap up, because we've been going for an hour and 14
Yeah.
without any breaks, I just realised, which is mental. Usually we have like breaks, but we should be on a roll. So we're going to talk about like, Eddie's impact culturally. Yeah, I don't think enough brothers realised how big a character and how popular he was going to become, because he literally has been just... Metallica, for example, so if he plays Master of Puppets, like one of the best things ever, Metallica literally have just taken
Eddie and ran with them.
Eddie and basically ran them, and they basically, metal fans, like you were saying, are quite bad for gatekeeping, and Metallica literally put out a post saying whether you've been here for 40 years or 40 hours, you're now part of the family, which I think was brilliant.
Yeah, very well handled on their part.
Yeah, Iron Maiden have pretty much done the same as well, because obviously Eddie holds up the Iron Maiden cassette, which is
This Is Music.
Yeah, this is the album. I can't remember the name of the album, but it's the one that's got like Run to the Hills and stuff like that on it. Can you tell I've got Eddie Munson playlist? Yeah, I think it's great, and it is great for people that, like I said earlier, we're seen as like the outsiders. And I don't gatekeep characters, but we were discussing this. A lot of people who are like simping for him, basically, which we're not. We like from who he is. He'd be friends with us, for example. We'd be in the Hellfire Club, for example, and then you get people who just simp for him because Joseph Quinn happens to be, good looking. You can like Eddie, but Eddie's not for you, if that makes sense. And we were discussing this earlier.
Because I think Eddie was written to be a tragic character, like we mentioned at the start, Satanic Panic, and he was based off of the West Memphis 3. West Memphis 3 was this horrific killing of 3 children, and instead of finding the actual killer, these 3 teenage boys were scapegoated because they liked metal music, because they were alternative, and since people didn't like them, they basically pinned it on them, and their defense, the prosecution was like, Satanic Panic, one of the boys liked Aleister Crowley, Church of Satan, all that kind of stuff. So the link between that and Satanism got brought forward, and the defense was like, there's literally no evidence, there's no forensic evidence, we can prove that they weren't there, but they were still convicted. Yeah. So Eddie, I think, is quite a tragic figure, because anyone that knows Eddie, like the viewers know Eddie, and Eddie's friends know Eddie. Eddie is this lovely character. He's got his D&D group, but he's very good at what he does. He's managed to unify all these people. He's got this band. He learned Master Puppets in 2 weeks,
which is pretty impressive.
He's this kind, he is this brave person. He got brave, like he sacrificed himself.
Not happy with that, but yes. Like,
he helps people. He's a very good person, but he is still seen as this satanic figure because he likes D&D, because he likes metal music, and that's the tragedy of his character. The fact that you've got this emotional scene of him dying, and like he's like, take care of them, Dustin, like promise me you'll take care of them. Yeah. And then the Munson murders kind of sound similar to Manson.
Yeah, and I was the one that noticed that when I didn't even twig his surname, and then when they said it,
Munson murders,
I looked at you and went, oh my god, tell me that's
Manson.
Yeah, it just sounded like Manson murders to me. So you can like Eddie, but if you're the type of person who probably would bully people for that, yeah. Another thing we noticed, Will's birthday again, forgotten.
Yeah, because it's like, when it's the day that Mike came back, and obviously Will is in love with Mike, but Mike's in love with Elle, and Will and Elle are sisters. Will and Elle.
Home Alabama.
So the day that Mike comes over to California, the day that Will has really been looking forward to, but Mike spends the entire time talking to Elle and kind of ignoring Will. The fact that Will had been looking forward to this for so long, and he gets completely shunted. And it just so happens to be on his birthday, so he was like third wheeling
March 22nd.
He was third wheeling his sister and the guy that he loves, and he's just third wheeling them.
But then the Duffer Brothers admitted they didn't actually forgot it was his birthday.
Yeah, because it was like, we thought Will was going to become the villain because he was like, well, I've got nothing for me in this world, but hey, when I was in the Upside Down, everyone was looking for me.
Yeah, that's true, but No, it was just a case of Double Brothers admitted they forgot his birthday, and apparently they've canonically changed it to being May the 22nd now. I heard. I don't know actually. I wonder if you Google it will come up. Let's see.
Because it was people played the scene where it's like it's the camera that's got the date, and then they played it was when Will was possessed by the mind flayer, and Joyce goes, "It's March 22nd. Do you know what day it is?"
Mm-hmm.
It's your
Apparently
birthday.
they're to digitally like change it to. Hold on. Yeah, they're going to digitally edit it on season 2 when Winona Ryder says like when's your birthday? It's March to make it May.
It would be easier to change it on the camera though, right?
Yeah, but it's set in spring break though.
Oh yeah.
But you could maybe make it a few days later, like his birthday was like a few days later,
Mm-hmm.
or days late or earlier. I don't know, but yeah, no, apparently that's what they're doing because it did annoy me, and I didn't notice. I'm not that much of a nerd.
Yeah, it had to be pointed out to us.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. So to wrap up, I think because we're at 1 hour 20 now.
Nice.
Theories for season 5.
I haven't really got many beyond Vecna being the one that took Will.
Mm-hmm.
The one theory, like we watched Cass reacting to theories, and one theory I think we both universally disliked was Robin being revealed to be a Russian spy.
Yes.
Neither is like that one. I just don't want that one to come true.
I don't think that's going to happen now after season 4.
Yeah.
And also what got me, why did she sabotage her own plot in season 3? That's what really put me off that. My biggest one is, and maybe it's just wishful thinking, is the Cass theory, Eddie being Cass. There's a lot of evidence towards it. I'm not going to list them, but like if you want to just Google it, it'll come up. But on the other hand, it won't be Eddie. Like, it won't be the Eddie that we know and love.
Yeah, so it's just like for context, Cass is a vampire in a D&D campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So Eddie dies but comes back as Cass the vampire, who then goes on to kill Vecna.
And they literally say that in the campaign that they play in episode 1, that when he goes, oh, Vecna lives, and Mike goes, that's impossible, Cass killed him, and then Eddie goes, so it was thought. So Cass is mentioned in the D&D game, so there is a lot of evidence of that. There's also a bunch of other evidence towards it, like the demo bites don't kill, and his wounds were surface bites, because why didn't Steve die, for example, and stuff like that.
Steve
but
got when I say
Steve's
immediate medical attention, he got like bandages put on him.
Yeah.
Eddie didn't get that.
Another thing is, please tell me they didn't leave Eddie's body lying upside down. There has to be like a funeral for him or something. That's what I know if a 2-day time jump. We don't know stuff.
See, maybe there's going to be flashback scenes, like how did they get over from Russia, for example?
And how did they get upside down? Because Eddie cut the rope. I was talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
How did they get out? It does annoy me. There's stuff like that. And Eddie's death just felt so pointless because the Diamondbacks kind of were away from them.
I think that's part of the tragedy of it, the fact that he knew he was going to die, but he did it anyway, so he sacrificed himself, which makes his death even more tragic, and then makes his ultimate portrayal as the Munson killer even worse, because you saw Eddie not only die, but kind of die for nothing.
Another thing I saw was a theory about season 4, like just post volume 2, going, what if Nancy saw that, when she said that she saw everyone like dying because of like basically what happened turned out to be the earthquake type thing in the vision which put into it by Vecna. What happens if she saw Eddie dying, and she maybe told Eddie, and that's why he said to Dustin, never change, promise me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. You didn't even realise that. I didn't realise I saw that theory. And I was like, oh my god, because it does feel really weird for him to go never change, and it was kind of like he was like looking at Dustin in like a sad way. And you do think about it.
Maybe because Eddie was aware
he might end
of
up in
his
prison
reputation.
or something.
Yeah, so it was like if he gets out of this, he's
not
not gonna get out of it.
He's not getting out of it properly, be that like jail or something. But
whereas Dustin would have to kind of hide who he is to not be seen as an enabler of Eddie, to be seen as part of the murders. Dustin would have to hide those parts of himself.
But they still know the picture though. They still know that Luke is Dustin in it, and the other three.
Yeah,
Mike,
and Mike and the rest of Crow's Coffin.
Yeah, exactly. So it is really weird how that.
So hopefully they're gonna go into it in season 5. Although I think the note we're gonna end on, what song would save you from Vecna?
Okay, mine would probably Master Puppets right now. But in all seriousness, I think the one that gets me the most hyped, like my favourite song of all time is King's Cross by Pet Shop Boys, but that's not really like an uplifting like song, like running up that hill or something like that. I think mine might be Insomnia by Faithless, especially in like the the beat drops type thing. I think that would probably be mine. I'd be definitely running away from Vecna. That would get me like moving. What would yours be?
Well, I think Planets of the Universe by Stevie Nicks. Oh, that is a song that makes you feel like you're floating. So
you could float towards the portal thing out.
So maybe
you could be like the meme with the guy running down like the school corridor and just the floating.
Oh my god! You just like floating in fact, and it's like no, not like that.
Getting back here.
But if it's one to be one that you would like run to, I think either Delilah by Florence and the Machine, or the one I wish Eddie had played on guitar, Call Me by Blondie.
That'd be a really good one, to be honest. I think mine would be Insomnia. Or my other one actually would possibly maybe be Crystal by New Order.
Oh.
Have you heard that one?
I think so.
Yeah, I'll play it after this. I think it might be that as well, because that's a really good song. Like, I love that as well.
See, I feel like also for me, Bohemian Rhapsody. But it's like nobody
You'd have to skip towards like the...
It's like what bit of Bohemian Rhapsody, so it would be like this very lopsided, like skipping to all the different bits. Like, is it the guitar bit? Is it the this bit? Is it the that
bit? If we were in the 80s, they'd be like the cassette, like pressing rewind, like, and you'd be listening to the headphone going, is this the bit we're at yet? Are we at the right bit?
See, if ever people make a Stranger Things parody, can they please have this bit?
Well, maybe like maybe with Insomnia as well. Like, you'd have to get to like later on. And it's 8 minutes as well. You'd be like, I think it's 8 minutes. It's at least 8 minutes. You'd be like, come on.
Has the beat dropped yet? Has the beat dropped yet?
No, he's still doing the rap. Like, come on, speed up.
Turns out the rap bit was the best part.
And Dad could do skip. So I was like, oh, my neck just cracked doing that.
I was like, you know that meme and it's like when you're sad and you're listening to a song but you go back to the start because you didn't feel sad enough to the sad bit. Vecna.
Okay, I think that's a great point to wrap it up.
Yeah.
So we've been going for like an hour and a half basically.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for coming on, Beth.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome.
And thank you to Rose for not watching Stranger Things.
I don't know what our next episode is going to be. We've not actually organised it yet.
Wishing that Devon and Bethany could have been here.
Yes, but they'll hopefully be here for the Buffy one, which we're going to probably record on 17th of August, so it'll be out that Monday after that, which I'm excited about. I need to finish it though.
I gotta finish it!
It's like a season and like 4 episodes left, something like that. Yeah, because Bethany's like a massive fan. Devon's going to rewatch parts of it to refresh her memory, but it's a massive fan and you love it.
The next 4 episodes you'll probably watch in one sitting.
Won't be tonight then. Probably I don't have time tonight, but probably tomorrow. Yeah, I think it's going to be good, the Buffy one, because I'm like the new perspective to it, and you're all
veterans.
Veterans of it, and somehow I avoid spoilers as well.
Impressive.
Thank you very much. Anyway, so that wraps us up. So don't forget to follow our social medias on Instagram, Twitter. I was going to say on YouTube, but you're listening to this on YouTube, so I'd like to think you've probably subscribed or at least liked it or something. I think all social media.
So do you want to drop the handles as well? Yeah,
the handles are at the Geek Show _GCU. Even though we're not at uni right now, but it's just a temporary summer thing. We should be back in the radio show broadcasting live and recording as well, like whenever uni goes back. When's that? October?
Who the fuck knows? October?
I think we're October, like start of October.
No way.
Yeah, we usually are like, but then we usually finish after you or other unis. Who knows?